Welcome to the Elizabeth Farm Podcast, and thank you for listening. If you enjoy our podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe.
All right, well, welcome to episode 2 of the Elizabeth Farm Podcast. Thank you so much, Bobby, for putting this together, and super excited. I know episode 1 was quite a while ago, but yeah, just looking forward to getting it back rolling and looking to having guests on and just giving our community an opportunity to be brought into what we're doing and to continue to grow together. So thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to see how the Elizabeth Farm podcast starts.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah. So I know we talked about this before, but the idea for today is just kind of let everybody know as we get revamped, kind of what the direction is going to be for the podcast, kind of what we're going to be talking about with our guests, and then how we can update everybody on what we're doing actually at the farm, the steps we're taking to fulfill the mission of both Feed My Sheep and Elizabeth Farm, which is to feed those that are hungry physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
Yeah, so you are going to be the host of Elizabeth Farm Podcast. So I'm in the place of a guest, but for this episode, I'll ask you whatever questions come to mind so that we get a feel of what the Elizabeth Farm Podcast will be going forward. So I'll play the part of the host asking the questions so we get some of your ideas and perspective on the podcast.
Great, man. Yes, sir.
So why do you think Elizabeth Farm should have a podcast?
So I think it's very important, one, for educating the community. And when I say educating, I don't want to act at all like we have all of the solutions to everything. That's one of the reasons why we're doing the podcast, is to have people on who can educate us, but also educate the community on what we're trying to do at the farm, which is, one, grow together as a community in every way, right? We're obviously raising animals, we're growing food, we're doing so many awesome things that are going to create job opportunities and really give people a chance to get out and have a different perspective of life, one that we've kind of lost in our world today, sadly enough. But yeah, to educate, to get the word out on specifically what we're doing, and then also invite people in to let us know what they're doing and how they're coming alongside us and participating in the same goals that we have, what they're doing, businesses that they're doing. We're going to have quite a few agricultural experts on, which I'm super excited about. But also just talking about health, the different aspects of holistic health, our diets, where our food comes from, why, nobody grows food anymore in America. 2% of our population grows 100% of our food. And, that may just be like, kind of a passing statement to some people, but that's a serious concern. Like that's never happened in human history. And we see the effects of that unfolding in our health and in, the systems that we have and the way that we do things. So all that to be said, I think it's important that we're gonna be educating. We're gonna be bringing people in, allowing them an opportunity to share their goals and their vision, and to grow together. That's our big thing, is growing together, and that's what we want to do. And we want to help the community be inspired to do that.
So each episode could have a slightly different topic based around the ideas of healthy living, eating, gardening, farming, all those different things, depending on your guests.
Yeah. We really want to gear it toward, we'll have guiding questions, for each guest, but we really want to make it open conversation to, let them speak, let them give their expertise, let them talk about what they want to talk about, and really give them that space to do that. Because as we know, we can all learn from each other. There's things that each of us have to bring to the table. Feed My Sheep's big saying is people matter. And along with people mattering, everybody has something to bring to the table. So we want to give people an opportunity to bring what they're doing for the community to the table, and to be able to really talk about that and dive deep into those things. So yeah, it'll be, when we do have guests, it'll be asking those questions and just letting them lead conversation and just be open with that. And then, weeks that we don't have guests, it'll be kind of more just updates about what we're doing at the farm. So really looking forward to it, though. It's so excited for this, man.
Awesome. Speaking of updates for the farm, like you mentioned, the first episode was quite a while ago. So for that reason, and for people that might not have seen or heard that episode, Would you like to say a little bit about Elizabeth Farm, what it is, how it started, all that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Elizabeth Farm is an extension of Feed My Sheep Temple. And our goal, I know I've said it, but is to grow community together. Grow together is kind of our slogan, but we have the same mission as Feed My Sheep. It's to feed those that are hungry physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And I know I'm biased, but I believe that we have the best path to do that because of growing food, raising animals, allowing for people to come out and really experience, like I said, a different life. It's a very freeing way of life. It's a very beautiful way of life that I think is missed in today's cultures. Once again, I know I'm biased, but I believe that we have the greatest opportunity to fulfill the mission of Feed My Sheep at the farm. So yeah, that's what we want to do. And last year we had a lot of stuff going on and it was slow getting started. We did some cool things. We grew a couple things. We got some new animals that are still at the farm, but it was tough after the tornado hit. It kind of wiped out a good majority of our crops.
I didn't think about that. We've had a lot happen since the previous episode.
Yeah. So, it's been a whirlwind.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. But just a lot has happened and we've had some bumps in the road, but in that, there's been a lot of amazing growth. Like Leadership Temple donated a greenhouse to us, which right now is growing, thousands of seedlings that we're going to be planting in the spring. And we're just able to do so many things with that. We just got a fence built for us by Garrett Warden. Shout out to Garrett because he did an amazing job and we've been waiting on that for a while. So we just got goats that we put in that section that got fenced off. So lots of stuff that's happened since then. But yeah, if you haven't listened to the first podcast, or if you do want to go back and check it out, for everybody listening, that's kind of all that's happened. And that's just a little sliver of looking into the future, what we have planned and what we're currently doing, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about. But yeah, it's been crazy, but awesome start to the year this year. And we have big plans. So
did you plan on doing this sort of thing with your life? How did you get involved with Elizabeth Farm?
No, so I grew up, I don't even know if I'd call it a passion. I loved animals. I loved being outdoors. When I was graduating high school, I thought that I wanted to be a game warden. And then I got into, unfortunately, a money mindset and really started thinking, about business and starting a business, which, the Lord has blessed my wife and I, Tyler and I. We do have a business now, but definitely not my greatest passion anymore, which leads me to absolutely, this is my passion. This is something that about 2.5 years ago, God really put on my heart. And through changing things in my diet, that was kind of the start of it, was looking at, what foods we put into our body, where that food comes from, why there's so many or so limited options for healthy food. And that led me down the road of looking at farming and the conventional farming system that we have in America that is, and this isn't, I'm not condemning anyone, but it has in large part ruined our nation because of the quality of food, quality of health, and the quality of our soil, which is much more important than people realize, but it is the foundation of a nation. Soil and God, of course, but soil.
The big two.
Yeah, on just the specific natural aspect, soil. Yes, no, God is most important. I want to make that very clear. Jesus Christ is the savior of the world. But soil is, if you don't have soil, you don't have food. You don't have, it's the most important natural thing, and we have desecrated our soils. All that to be said, that's kind of what led me down this path, started reading books, started listening to different people, different podcasts that really gave me some good information. And the Lord just, this is what I'm made to do. Like I tell people all the time, my friends, I tell Tyler that like God made me and put me on this earth to further the health of humans, and doing that through farming. And I'm just so blessed and so ready to just continue this journey and be able to really take this on and, bring people into the community so we can continue to grow. But yeah. So it's been about a 2.5 year, 3 year, close to 3 year journey of really being passionate about specifically gardening and farming. But yeah, man, can't wait to see where it goes.
You've mentioned God a couple times. So what part does God play in your perspective, and then as an extension, this podcast going forward?
Yeah. So he is the center of it all. And I don't mean that to sound like a cliche. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for God's creation and what he's put in place. One of the things I'm most passionate about is the systems that he's given us, right? We know there's pain, there's suffering all around us, but he gives us ways to follow after him and to be at peace and to have joy, lasting joy, even if our circumstances don't give us temporary happiness. But in those systems, there's a way that he created things naturally. And I believe that it does. It goes back to the garden. It goes back to creation, what he gave Adam and Eve to do. And that's one of the things that he's really put on my heart is, I think, and once again, I don't mean this in a condemning way, but I think we have a sort of spiritual Gnosticism, which is just a fancy word of the splitting between the spiritual and the natural. And I think we don't, as Christians, really focus on the natural as much as we should. I think we've got the spiritual part down, which is great, right? We absolutely need that. But when it comes to the caretaking of God's earth and the systems that he's put in place to feed us and to give us work and there's so many benefits to farming emotionally and mentally. There's statistics that say that touching healthy soil can improve your serotonin levels. And there's actual science behind this. It's not just like some mumbo jumbo, it's backed by things. But I do think we forget about the natural things that God has given us to further life, procreate and reproduce in the sense of animals and plants, and then ultimately, absolutely humans. But God loves life. And I think we forget about that, especially in our culture. We have so many things going on that tell us to destroy and to kill and to, just maim life. And we need to get back to growing life and producing life because God loves life. So once again, Christ being my Savior and him doing all the things that he's done in my life, just opening my eyes to his truth and to his saving work has led to this passion for farming. Funny enough. It sounds simplistic, but yeah, it's cool to see what he's done in my own life. So
that's funny that you mentioned that about the soil. I didn't know that, by the way. That's interesting. But I just met a college student this past week. He's coming to the farm this weekend, so you meet him. But he told me, yeah, I really want to go to the farm. When I told him about it, he said, I always try to get my hands dirty every single day if possible. And I thought that was like a really weird thing I haven't heard anybody say that. I was like, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
He enjoys sticking his hands in the dirt. So I guess now we have a scientific reason as to why that's beneficial.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to meet him because it's really weird when I tell people, but like soil is my passion. Once again, there's so many things that we'll talk about, different aspects, and we'll have people on that can explain it way better than I can. But the most life is in the soil, like the microbiology and the billions and billions of different living things that are in the soil. It's like we forget there's a world underneath our feet. And, in my mind, it's like if we can remember that there's that much life that we're just walking around every day, it's like, man, you start realizing that, you start seeing people differently, you start seeing those systems differently, you start seeing everything differently when you remember that God has given us a life. And so, yeah, that's cool. That's cool because I don't get to nerd out and talk about soil a lot with people. So I'm excited to see this guy.
This might be your guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
So you also mentioned the idea of stewardship and how Christians in general are pretty good at recognizing how to steward certain things well, using certain things God's given them for the glory of God. So like our time, our money. But as you pointed out, we don't really think of the earth that way, stewarding creation to the glory of God. Why do you think there's that disconnect? Why is that different than the other areas of our life?
Yeah, I think in part it's been hijacked by the world. A lot of times, at least in my experience, when I've talked to people kind of about my desires and my plans, it does seem like very like hippie, I guess, like, tree hugging and the Mother Earth movement and all of these things. I think it has been hijacked by those in the world that don't view God as sovereign, that don't view this as God's creation, and that everything we should do should be geared toward glorifying God. And I think that's where we have such an amazing opportunity, especially at this point in time in history, to take that back, to say, no, like, this is God's creation. This is, like, he has given this to his people, right? I mean, the righteous will inherit the earth, like, and I think that's another thing sometimes we can forget is this isn't prosperity gospel. This isn't like, oh, we each deserve a couple acres of land, but like, God has given land to his people to use and to steward for the good of others. And I think that's been forgotten. I'd say mostly because it's been hijacked, and that the world has taken so much land and used it for, unfortunately, not good purposes. But yeah, I'd say that's a large part, is being hijacked and just us forgetting that we have a place in this world and that our God owns it all.
What do you think is the biggest thing you can tell people to kind of shift their mindset to more of that way of thinking? Like, if this is the only podcast episode they see, is there anything, any piece of information, any perspective shift that you can offer that might change, not immediately, but maybe lead to some change?
Yeah, I'd say you have to experience it. And this is where I would tell you to come out to Elizabeth Farm and experience what we're doing, see what we're doing. I mean, you really do. Like, I can sit here and tell somebody, oh, touching the soil makes you happier. But if you've never touched soil, like, you can't believe me because you've never done it. You have to go and do it. So yeah, I would invite you out. I would invite you to listen to more of the podcast, to get more information from people who are way smarter than me and have been doing this for a way longer time. But I think that is, like, truly getting your hands dirty is the way forward and the way to experience that. One of my favorite quotes is, if you want to make small changes, change the way you do things. If you want to make big changes, change the way you see things. And that's by a farmer, Gabe Brown. But it really is a total shift in how you see the world. Because even when I was starting on this journey, like, I knew I liked gardening. I knew I liked animals. I knew I liked these things. But now my mind is like, and I know this freaks some people out, but like, I truly believe we should go back to being an agricultural, agrarian society because of all of the benefits and because of the things that growing your own food does. It gives you purpose. It helps you, once again, mentally, physically, spiritually, all of these things. And I know that's extreme. We have to start, but I truly do believe in it that much. We should go back there because it is the healthiest way of living. And my goal with this podcast is to prove that, so people will see it. But yeah, got to experience it, got to come out to the farm. We want as many people as possible out. We want to grow together as a community. So that's the goal.
Do you have any podcast guests lined up already, or do you have some in mind?
We do. Yes, we do. I guess I can say.
It's up to you if you want to do a spoiler alert.
Yeah. James Halverson of Halverson's Hidden Harvest, right outside of Temple. They've been doing amazing work in our community, farming and providing health foods for years now, and super excited to have him on next week. And yeah, I'm so excited because, one, I've looked up to him and learned just from the way that they've done things, just through watching them through social media, how they're putting out resources for people to have access to health foods, and also their processes of how they grow things. So super excited about that. And then later on, we'll have some other regenerative farmers on, which is another topic we'll be talking about more, which is kind of that shift away from conventional farming. And then, some holistic health experts who are looking at coming on. So just a plethora of knowledge that I can't wait to just untangle and allow people to see. So, but yeah, that'll be a great start off to this podcast. So
earlier you mentioned talking about updates of Elizabeth Farm. In addition to what you've already shared, is there any updates, things planned in the immediate future that you could mention?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. I want to be careful because I want to keep some of these for surprises, but, oh man, I guess I'll just start with everything that we're planting. Like I said, we have in our greenhouse, we have thousands of seedlings started. So right now we're getting our in-ground garden beds prepped, and we're trying to protect them from this freeze that's about to hit us tonight. So getting that ready and protected, but man, we're going to try to grow as much food as we possibly can. One, to feed those that Feed My Sheep serves, but two, once again, to show people the vision, to show people that this is possible. If I can grow things and make things grow, anybody can make things grow. So with the Lord's blessing, of course. But yeah, so that the garden beds, we're setting up even more in-ground beds for springtime when we have our melon patch. And then, in the fall, we're going to have our pumpkin patch. So there's that. And then also be on the lookout, which we'll talk about this more on later episodes as well, but just events that we're going to be doing, right? We're going to have events at Easter. We'll have events in the summer. We want families to come out and bring their kids. It's a perfect time out of school, to let your kids run around and to get educated on, once again, growing things and seeing the beauty of nature. So yeah, so many things that we're going to be doing. I'm really holding on to this surprise. It's actually, I'm picking up something. You don't know about this, but nobody knows about this. I'm picking up something tomorrow for the farm. I think I'm going to wait though.
Is it a horse?
No, it's not.
Okay.
That would be awesome. I think that'll be a little later. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Maybe we can put some pictures out on social media after tomorrow, but I'm super excited about it.
Cool.
And yeah, some people will know what it is just off me saying how excited I am about it. But yeah, we'll wait for that one.
What animals do we have out at the farm already?
Yeah, so we have 4 pigs right now. We've got about 20 chickens. So we've got too many roosters. So if anybody needs a rooster, please let us know. But no, we'll eventually be getting more hens though for our egg production. I know I'm probably missing so many things, but that is one of the things we're going to do is we're going to be producing tons of eggs. And the other animals that we have 4 goats out there now. So eventually we're going to be getting goat's milk to one, drink, because if you don't know, goat's milk is one of the healthiest things you can put in your body. But 2, we'll be allowing, like I mentioned, job opportunities earlier, our ladies to make goat milk soaps and lotions and all of these different things that, Feed My Sheep has already been starting with the micro industries. We'll just be able to continue that at the farm. So yeah, pigs, chickens, goats. We have 2 rabbits that are running around like crazy right now, which is actually, that's not a bad thing. They're actually very happy and they're, eating whatever they want.
As long as they don't get eaten or snatched up.
Yes,
by an animal.
They've got a safe place under the RV right now, so they are perfectly fine. But yeah, we are eventually going to look for we don't want to put them in small cages, but have a place like we've had before, have a little run for them to be in and have enough space to still run around. Yeah. And I think that's it outside of the birds that are coming to the farm. That's another cool thing that I'm excited about. It just as we grow more life and we improve the soils, we have more biodiversity, just the birds coming in, because birds flock when you have different species of plants and you have different pollinators that come in. So yeah, just lots of life. We want as much life out there as possible. So
is there food being produced for Feed My Sheep already? Are we getting produce or eggs that are being supplied to Feed My Sheep?
Yeah. So right now it's small just because of the system which once again, I'm trying not to give the surprise away.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's one of the things that we want to do with our chickens is have them out on pasture, which has been proven, happier, healthier chickens lay more eggs. We do have eggs being produced right now. It's just not in a large enough scale to, provide for that many people. Once we have a certain situation, we'll be able to provide a lot of eggs. So yeah, we've got egg production. We've got a lot of things growing right now. We've planted garlic, lettuce, beets, radishes. Of course, we've got our seedlings growing. We've got tomatoes. We've got lots of different kinds of peppers. We've got some different herbs that we're growing, cucumbers, eggplant. So we're going to have a plethora of things to be able to transplant in the spring. But yes, one already growing, like our garlic is doing really well. Lettuce is doing well. Kale, beets and radishes, potatoes, carrots. Right now, I think that's all that's actually popped up and growing well. But yeah, producing and planning on producing even more very soon. So super excited for that.
From what I saw last year, okra was one of the few things that survived the tornado. It seemed like we had tons of okra.
Yeah, we did. We got a really good okra production, and we've got probably 100 okra seeds that we'll be planting again. So yeah, because I think another part that, like, especially for the store, when we do open the store, which is another thing we could talk about.
Another surprise.
Another thing I forgot about. But yeah, our store is going to be opening in March, but things will have like pickles, pickled okra, things like that we'll be able to, put in our store while also feeding others. So yeah, man, if there's something that'll grow, we'll grow it out there. We bought a lot, and that's probably an understatement, a lot of seeds recently. So just getting ready for starting in the greenhouse and then also planting outdoor when after the last frost hits. So
when is the farm store going to open? If you're allowed to say, what is it going to have in addition to what you mentioned? And what are your hopes for that?
Yeah, so we actually don't have an official date. We are planning for late March, so we will keep everyone updated. We're finished with all of the building. So if you don't know, we turned the garage of the house that's out at the farm into a store, and it's amazing. It's an amazing transformation. We'll obviously have pictures of before and afters, but yeah, it's ready to go. We just have to get it furnished and then also put products in there. So of course, we'll be selling things that Feed My Sheep already has, like shirts and stickers and all the
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee. Yeah, we'll have coffee, mugs. And then as far as what we'll be able to produce at the farm, yeah, we'll have jars of pickles, pickled okra. The ladies that make jams and jellies will be selling jams and jellies out there. And then we're hoping, even with our walking sticks, I know Jeff is big on walking sticks, which we love, and we'll be able to sell some of those out there. So yeah, and then eventually we will have healthcare products like, facial oils and goat's milk soap. And one of the big dreams would be to have herbal medicinal products out there. Like, for example, we're growing basil and cilantro and a bunch of different herbs, chamomile. So we'd love to expand, but starting, those are the things that we're really going to focus on, and then we'll go from there, like focusing on teas, and that would be awesome. But that's more of a future plan. So
seems like those sorts of things would maybe be easy to start getting into, especially teas with just dry herbs, right? And then
yeah, it would be. I think it's just scale, because starting off, we want to produce higher calorie foods just so that we can make sure that we're maintaining our goal of feeding people.
Yeah.
So focusing on higher calorie foods, but then yes, when we get more people involved, get more people on board and helping out, absolutely. I mean, it would be an easy transition and easy to scale that to where we could be, drying herbs and using dehydrators. I have a dehydrator at our house that we love to use, and it's super simple. So just doing stuff like that and expanding those micro industries as we go along. Yeah, it'll be super easy. It's just getting everyone involved and finding people that, can do those individual things.
So there's plenty of room for people to join and help at the farm and doing things and getting new programs going, helping with existing ones. How do people get involved?
Yeah, so you can email me. We obviously have our attachments online, but my email is zach@feedmysheeptemple.org, and we also have a sign-up link that I can send you through that email as well. But you can sign up to volunteer. You can email me to come out whenever. One of the exciting things, and once again, I know I'm missing a lot, but my wife Tyler and I are actually planning on moving to the farm, so we'll be there full time. And we're hoping that that's within the next month or so. But we'll be able to be out there and put a lot of our focus into doing that and helping people come in. But yeah, that's one of our goals, is to, I know I mentioned grow together, but really bringing people in to use their different skills. Like, one of the things we want to do is build more garden boxes. So if you're a builder, or if you have access to extra lumber, it's like, come bring that. Let's build some garden boxes together with the herbs and stuff. If you have a passion for herbal medicines, like, come out experiment, do whatever you want to do to further our mission and further our goals. We don't want to limit people. We want people to be able to really use their talents and use what God has given them to yes, further the mission of Feed My Sheep, but also just to better our community, to better our society as a whole. And we need to work together to do that. So yeah, we want, if you have a passion or a desire or a skill that can be used, please, or just if you want to learn, come out and we'll work together and grow together as a community. So yeah, there's a plethora of opportunities. We just need people. We need people involved. So
part of the function is as a community farm. So people that don't have space to plant things at their own place, they can come out to the farm and they can find a plot that's open and they can have that area to get their hands dirty and plant some stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be guiding and directing just so we make sure that we're meeting our goals. Mm-hmm. But absolutely, like it said, if you want to grow a specific herb or a specific food, one of the things that we want, and we have a few of them, are fruit trees. Like if you love fruit, like me, I love fruit. Like come and have a little section of where we're planning to have our orchard. Like, do whatever within the confines of meeting our goals and mission. But absolutely. And one thing you said, I would push back on, if you think you don't have enough space to grow something, don't underestimate yourself. And the reason I say that is because this weekend we're actually going to be planting potatoes in cardboard boxes. So just to give people that idea that, oh, I can grow potatoes in a cardboard box with a little bit of healthy soil and watering and sunlight. So yeah. I mean, grow at home, come out to the farm and grow everywhere. But yes, we will have plenty of opportunities for people to grow what they want and use their talents and gifts to help us, for sure.
I am out of questions. If you want to transition to just talking about whatever you want, anything I didn't cover?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot more, which I say that I know I'm going to kick myself after this.
There's going to be more episodes, right?
Yes, there will be more episodes. I have to remind myself that. Yeah, but yeah, just how excited we are. Once again, please come get involved. Even if you just need a hobby to come and hang out, if you need to get out of town. And that's one of the things we're most excited about, especially just with the people that we serve here at Feed My Sheep. Like environment and the space you're in can be a very limiting factor to what you can do. And that's the beautiful thing about a farm, is there's really not a lot. Like, yes, like we're limited, quote unquote, limited to 5 acres. But I mean, 5 acres, oh my goodness, there's so much you can do and so many people that you can feed with 5 acres. But all that to be said, even if you just need a change of scenery, like come out and see what we're doing. If you don't believe me that touching the soil increases your serotonin levels, like come and do it. Try it out. Test me, please. I am fine with that. I love being questioned. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is we're excited for people to be able to change their scenery, to change their environment, and see that there's something else out there, to see that we can truly make lasting and impactful change through God's land, through God's creation. And that's what we want to show people. So come on out, use your skills, use your talents, and let's grow together.
I got one more sign-off question.
Yeah.
What is one animal or animals that you'd like to have at the farm? Maybe not short term, but at some point that you think would be really cool to have out there?
Horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I say horse, maybe. I don't know if we have enough room for multiple horses, but I think one of the cool things with horses, and I know there's groups, if you're a part of one of those groups and you're listening, contact me, but that do equine therapy. And I think that would be huge for our mission and feeding those that are hungry physically, spiritually, and emotionally, because you can do this with any animal. I mean, right, if you have a pet, or if you've been around animals before, you know the peace that they can bring, and they give you, they do give you meaning and purpose, because you have to take care of them, and you have to, or at least give them a space to take care of themselves. But so often they can give back to you in the form of, emotional help, just being there, being a life that is present and around you, a calming presence, but also in the form of food. Some people don't like to hear that, but if you take good care of animals and you treat them well, they will produce good food back to you. Not horses, but
well,
you get
some
them. Well, yeah, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Not for me. I'm good.
Yeah, we'll try it.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I would say a horse or horses because of, and I have no experience in this, but I know equine therapy is used and has been very successful in helping people from addiction recovery to just being calming for anxiety and depression. So yeah, and I could list off 100 different animals that I want, but
Do you take requests if I mention something that I think would be cool?
oh yeah. What?
I think it'd be cool to have bees. I've never kept bees, but I just think the idea of it's kind of cool.
Well, your dream's about to come true, Bobby, because
Is that the thing?
no.
Oh, okay.
But that's another thing. It is another thing. So we're actually, and Casey is kind of heading this. Casey Mooney is actually kind of heading this off, but he's got a guy that's going to come out and they basically, I guess, lease bees to you would be the correct term. He'll bring the bee boxes. He'll set everything up. He'll teach us everything that we need to know about beekeeping. And then he also comes back out and takes care of the bees while we're still learning. Yes, that dream is going to come true very soon. So it's going to become a reality. Yeah, we'll have bees, and another thing, honey production eventually will be huge. So yeah, so many things, but that's a good point. Do you have any others?
That's really, that was the one I was thinking of.
Okay, bees. Well, yeah, absolutely, man. And if you have any animals that you would think would be good out at Elizabeth Farm, I mean, like I said, as long as it meets the goals of what we're doing, we'll take any and all suggestions. So, but thank you everyone for listening. We've got next week planned, so stay tuned for next week. And yeah, if you have any questions, once again, reach out to me at Zach, Z-A-C-H, at feedmysheeptemple.org. And yeah, let's continue to grow together. Ask any questions that you may have. We'll continue putting out resources, but we're looking forward to it. So, and thank you again, Bobby. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Elizabeth Farm Podcast. For more content, follow us on your favorite social media platforms. Elizabeth Farm Podcast is a production of Red Cord Media, recorded in Temple, Texas. For more information on this and other podcasts, please visit redcordmedia.org.